why are you just taking all these L's? Like, what's going on, man?
The only thing with the monkey is
The monkey.
monkey.
Convoking slime. Convoking slime. We're so fucking back. This is what we like to see. Oh my god. Ever since World happened, I feel like time has just gone by way too quickly. It just it's just like we're already like 2 weeks into MRC already, aren't we?
Yes.
It's just like where did the time go? I feel like I've only just started playing the Silvery collection. That could be because my distributor is a piece of fucking shit. How you been though, Josh? How's your 2 weeks been going? I feel like we as the team we haven't linked up in a while. We haven't linked up and actually caught up on how everyone's doing. I don't even know what half the team is playing for MRC. how have you been?
Yeah, I mean, I've been good. I mean, I've actually been kind of going back a little bit and playing Cry. It's been really good.
Ew, what the
Been
fuck?
quite fun. Hey, yeah, it's come back. No, to be honest, like I think I think the new spirit, the fragmented spirits are really, really good in Rye. Um and I also think that the ability to have a bigger sideboard is awesome. Because then when I play into decks that aren't, allies based, I can take out all of the try not to die stuff. Resolutes, Peacefuls, Vanishes. You might keep summon for some matches, but you can pull all of that out and have a more consistent deck into those other matchups. So no, I think Rise being is really fun.
Oh my
That's
god.
what I've been playing.
You can
I
actually
haven't really messed around too much. Sorry.
you can actually put your peer into mana back into your deck.
I know it's pretty good. Well, it's in the sideboard, but
Yeah.
yeah, it is in the deck. It's pretty good. Yeah, and I think yeah, I haven't really played around too much with the other decks. I did actually play one other deck. I played a watermelon, and I think that was quite fun.
Why are you just taking all these L's? Like, what's going on, man? What happened to you come MRC? I thought you were starting to get cool, man. You were talking about like Serene Lux and Xander, and you.
Hey, I was never gonna play that.
Yeah, that's fair.
My
Actually.
okay, here's okay. To everyone, this is my feelings on Serene Lux and Xander.
Oh.
I think it is an extremely cool and consistent deck, and I would really like to learn it. The only reason I don't want to learn it is because I don't want to play the mirror match because I've seen enough of them and they look horrendous.
Oh, feels bad. Feels bad. Yeah. I mean, you know what? Playing into that, having yourself go to time every single time. Yikes.
Yeah, so you gotta like play with like Gawains, right? So you're worried about like each deck has like 4 Gawains, right? So then you've got 4 Gawains to worry about, so they could pick apart your Light Weaver's assaults, and then you've got incapacitate to counter them.
Hmm.
Like realistically, the game now in a Luxem Xander mirror is just sit there and just hope, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. But dude, enough about these like old ALC decks. We came into MRC. We're a new person now. We've got slimes on the board. We got a new assassin on the block. Like, I get that we've got the whole assassin of light Xander shit going on with Luxem, and honestly, it got kind of boring after a little bit. But now we have this whole Umbra assassin. And speaking of like the incapacitates and stuff, oh my god, like I mentioned before how I finally got my Silvery collection because I wanted to play slimes. I wanted to play slimes ever since they revealed that. I pre-ordered that. The moment they revealed the Silvery collection and it went up for pre-order, I pre-ordered it. And I got my list and I started playing it and I played into Tristan and I was like, I didn't look at what their cards did, and I was punished for that. I was punished for thinking I was a dungeon guide. No. Okay, I'll play a bestial friend. No. The whole deck revolves around them waiting with like 3 or 4 cards in hand and then saying no. And it feels like shit.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a control style, which we haven't seen as much of in Wind, but yeah, I haven't played around with it a lot, to be honest. I've just been kind of like cruising into the season and just kind of messed around with a couple of things, trying to get cards, because I mean, man, the distribution for the set is kind of ridiculous.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah, very
the
true.
good thing about all of the recollection decks, right, is that you get one of each, and then you've got all the cards you need. But as for all of my other SRs and URs, like it is just a struggle trying to put decks together. So I think that's gonna be probably I'm holding off a little bit just to kind of see what I can get and what starts to develop, and then we can start building around that. But no, I think um there's a lot of new tools that I think are really cool, a lot of new ways that you can build the same decks, which I think is a welcome addition as well. And yeah, I think the slimes are really cool too, and they've actually been performing really well. It may just be because a lot of people are playing them, but I think the slimes are really good.
Yeah, I mean, like it reminds me of like the old MTG tribal decks. Like it's a deck which is built to synergize with itself. Every card should in some way synergize with itself. It should do something that benefits the overall goal, and I really like that. But going back to like what you were saying with distribution and stuff, I get what you mean. It was extreme. Like I haven't opened nearly as much product as a lot of other people have. I know that other like I haven't even opened a case, but I know people that have gone through like 20 plus boxes without seeing a sig because that's what they're chasing. But other cards like Shadow's Claw, I think we got revealed was a 1 in 18 box UR that like it's a regalia that you want. If you're playing the Tristan deck, it is just such a good addition to it that you can pretty much play almost every game if you're playing Shadow Dancer or anything with Umbra that makes ominous shadows. It just works. Um
Yeah,
and it leads into your game plan really well. But 1 in 18 boxes for it. Like, and at this point, as you said, you're waiting to see how this kind of goes. We've got Ascent Taipei coming up soon, and we'll probably see the meta start to form out of that. It'll begin to form. It'll take its first
mm,
few steps, and from that, you're gonna probably start seeing some cards which maybe were a little bit slept on, or were just kind of they've settled. They'll probably spike again because somebody used it extremely proficiently through the games, and that thing will spike back up in price. I mean, remember when Gildas was $3 for a pop, and
yep,
then Wind Allies made her suddenly like it's here. She's almost like 60 to $70. It's a little bit painful,
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
but like we've gotten to that point, right, where pre-release prices have kind of disappeared a little bit. We're no longer at the point where every single UR is above $50, and the SRs which people saw and theory crafted before they saw the entire set were sitting at like $60 want to buys. Now we're kind of settling down where some cards are actually hitting like where we'd hope them to sit. But I feel like once the meta actually comes out, once the meta starts to form, a lot of stuff is going to start spiking, and other stuff's going to start completely plummeting.
Yeah. No, one thing I really wish that Weebs didn't do personally, I'm not the biggest fan of this, was the main deck URs. Um, I think that is a horrific design choice, and in this set it has become ever so so much more clear, because there are a lot of main deck URs, and yeah, like you said, things like Shadow's Claw. I mean, I can't say shit because I I pulled one from one of my 4 packs from the sealed event. Yes, but I have opened 7 boxes so far, and I've been lucky enough to pull a couple of spirits, but there's definitely like, um, wanting to get the other spirit. But I think those are fine to be URs, but having cards like Atmos Armor type Aries, is it her? Is it Aries? It
Aries.
is
No, it's
Aries. Yeah,
Aries.
I got
It's
it
Aries.
right.
It's Aries.
Yeah,
I get mixed
yeah, I
up, bro.
know.
It's
Yeah, and then
Mecha.
they've got, what is it? Final Stroke. You've got uh, Overlord,
Prima
Premium
Materia.
Materia. Like these cards are just like they could just be SRs and just add like a couple more URs into the main like material deck slot. Yeah, or at
Yeah.
least if you're gonna have main deck URs, don't make that many of them because it just dilutes the pool even more. Yeah, that's
Yeah. I did I was gonna say I was chatting to one of my friends here who recently went and bought 2 boxes, and when he came into the store today, I asked him, I was like, "Did you pull anything good for me?" He's like, not really. I was like, "Oh, what were your URs?" And he goes, "Vampiric Slime and Final Stroke." And I felt for him there. I was like, I understand how you
mm,
feel there, because like even though I've been playing with slimes, I love Vamp Slime. I think it's great. I don't think it's a UR. I understand there's an argument to be made that it helps stores sell product. If there's more of like these URs that you need to get and stuff, it will force people to open more products, and they'll go through and they'll buy more source product. It doesn't make it as volatile to hold the stock for a store, but at the same time, I think to me, this is just my pure suggestion. This is I'm not a retailer or anything like that, but as a player, it feels a little bit excessive. Like the level of main deck URs
it's
feels a little bit excessive.
it's ridiculous. Like if you were to open, you would need to open what, like 20, over 20 boxes and get extremely lucky to get your playset of everything, but you would easily get overlaps.
Mm.
So, I mean, like that's the thing, is so many different main deck URs, and you look at a game, like you compare it to Magic, right? It's got the same thing, you got commons, you got uncommons, and then you've got rares. and then you've got your mythics, which are like your SRs and GA. But then there's also this extra rarity. It's like, oh yeah, there's only one per box, and you're guaranteed to get it, but there's only one. Like and the amount of people that actually need, you know, 4 of the URs for main deck stuff, it's like it just inflates the price of the secondary market, and it encourages people to do a lot of scalping and a lot of, like, predatory tactics. So I personally am not a big fan of it. I don't mind, like, I think URs are still a good thing. I think having URs in the material deck slot where you only need one of them is fantastic. But yeah, I would really like to see, I would think maybe one main tech UR or maybe two at a
Mm.
push per set. I could probably live with that, but yeah, what are we at? Like, there's like 4 of them, 4 or 5. That's 25 boxes if you like, and a lot of those cards, like, they just, their cards are cool. Like for example, Overlord. I really want to build an Overlord deck, but you kind of need 4 Overlords because you want to see the Overlord. It's like, yeah. So I think, yeah, no, I would. I mean, this could cut a bit of a downer on the set the start, but it is definitely something worth noting about the set and about the way the game is going.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see that
But yeah,
change.
but if we were to, like, we're getting the bad stuff out of the way. Besides that, I love this set. Like, the cards that are in this set just feel like, they said they were gonna give support to every single class, and obviously the Azoth elements, like the Azoth advanced elements, were going to get advanced element support, while all the Cambria advanced elements they weren't going to get support for their advanced elements, but they'll get support for the class anyway. Like, Warrior got support, Mage got support, Tamer got support. Tamer got Recollection support too, so they were a bit of an outlier. They did get, they actually did get their advanced element support in the form of a slime, 2 slimes, and like 2 material deck cards. But there's so many cards in the set that make me really think that you could now build a lot of the champions, which I feel were very pigeonholed into certain elements. You can build them in different elements. There's a lot more spice that can be put into these decks, and I'd love to see how it goes. I'd love to see where the set starts going.
There's so many different avenues you can take all the decks now. Like, I feel like there's not bad decks in terms of, like, building a, water mage or a wind mage, or a wind assassin, a water assassin. Like, there's a way that you can go around all the different element combinations, which I think is ideal, because if people find an element they like, they find a class or a champion they like, they can go with that. So I think there's obviously still going to be a meta and whatnot, and like, again, fire didn't get any weaker, so but there's a lot of good cards in other sets, or in other elements, sorry, and I think it's really good. Really, and I just want to point out, well, we should do this. We should talk about, like, I mean, one cool interaction that I've found and want to play around with. I mean, other people would have found it anyway. But the Windblessed Forecaster. This is the one that allows you to put an extra enlightenment counter on. Whenever you put one on, you add another one. So you're basically doubling. Well, you're not doubling. You're adding an additional one. So if you have this on the field and you're level 2 or above, right, and then you play a Zephyr Assistant, when you play the Zephyr Assistant and enter, it brings you 1 enlightened, so you get 2, right? And then you play Displace. So on Displace cast, you get from Rye, you get 2 counters, so that's 4. And then it picks up the Zephyr Assistant, so it leaves, so you get 2 more, right? That's 6. And then it comes back in, rested, so that's going to be 8, because you get 2 more on enter. And then Displace on it as a mage class bonus has an extra and an enlightened counter, so that's 10. So you're investing, obviously you're going to have Zephyr Assistant on the field, and it's probably going to die after they see you do this once. However, if you use a Displace to get around it dying, and you can put it down, like the Displace with that is just such a fucking nasty combo. Uh, I love it. I don't know if it's going to see play, because the Wimbless Forecaster is for, like, I think 4 costs from memory. It's kind of expensive. It's not a really good body, so it's very easy to kill. But man, if that combo isn't cool, and I think those sort of things that they're adding in, I think it's really sick.
Yeah. I mean, if there's one thing Wynn's good at, it's protecting its allies. And I mean, if you're spending 3 cards to then be able to, at a later date, draw 3 more cards at just that investment, that's kind of cool. That's a solid combo.
If you can leave it, if it can live on the field, like, if you can last a turn and then keep protecting it, you're gonna go off. I do want to try. I do think it's gonna be a really fun. I do think it could be a fun deck. I don't know if it's going to be competitive, but I think it will be fun.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That's the cool thing about this set is just they've brought in so many cards that can turn like decks and archetypes which just kind of didn't seem to have a win con or didn't have a consistent way to get to a win con. They bridge that gap pretty damn nicely. The only combo I can think of that I actually like tried to do was I was playing a wind slime deck and I was playing Slime King. I love that guy. He's so funny. He's such a funny little guy.
He's pretty cool.
But Stone Scale Band, obviously great card. It's a proxy as Vault card, so everyone can play it. So you have no reason why you can't play this combo, mostly. But you bring out Stone Scale Band, you discard 3 cards from your hand or memory, sorry, and you kind of just pick 3 really good advanced element slimes that have really good on-enter effects. You make sure you still have Slime King in hand. You then draw 3, you play your Slime King, banishing those 3, and then you displace your Slime King. Your Slime King will leave the board, it'll come back, or you suppress him. Suppress would be even better in this case. But he leaves. On leave, all of those banished slimes come straight back. They all get their on enters, and now your board is now 3 bodies larger. And then the end of your turn, if you suppressed him, he comes back and he's now a 4/5 taunter back on your board with your 3 other bodies on the board. That also, they don't come in rested or anything, so they can just slam your opponent as massive slimes do. I don't know, it was a cool little combo I was looking at. I've never gotten it off because it is such a niche, like you need to have so many cards in your hand and you're never going to get the perfect banish off with Slime King. Like it's really really hard because you're playing wind. I've found does not have easy ways to get the slimes into the graveyard because the whole thing is you're making your board pretty damn massive, and wind, as I mentioned, is really good at protecting their allies. So you kind of have to sit there and just let your ally die, even though you might have the out, because you're like, no, but I have a Slime King, so I actually need this ally to die.
Mm.
And it kind of feels bad. It's wind does not lend itself very well to it, but it's a cool little combo, and I like it because it floods your board with slimes, and that's what I'm all here about is building wide with funny fantasy allies.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. Um, yeah, no, the slimes are really cool. I think that was such a good idea. I think it's probably the most interesting archetype, I would say.
Absolutely.
Um, at the moment, at the moment of the
Yeah,
release.
yeah, yeah. I think one of the least favorite things I had though playing that, I tried, as much as I talk about wind has a hard time getting things into the graveyard, not if you're facing new Nico. New Nico does not have any problem filling up your grave.
Yeah.
It was turn 4, it was turn 5 or something like that, and I got hit by a Ravishing Finale. And out of nowhere, he's like, mill 50. What? What do you mean, mill 50? I had to
Mm,
sit there and do the math, look at it. I'm like, oh no, you're so correct. What the hell? It comes out of nowhere. Like you get hit, like first turn, if they go second, cool. I'm gonna play an Icebound Slam. You're like, you're gonna do what? You're gonna pay like 7 for that? And I'm like, yep. And they do it, and they just do it to put some damage counters on you. And then later on, they hit you with that Ravishing Finale, and it just mills your entire deck out. And I was sitting there like, I don't know what to do now. Like, I actually don't know how to do it. Nico's kind of back. Like, there's obviously there's ways to kind of,
was she ever
you know
there?
what? You're right. You're right. But like
Nico has arrived.
it's one of those decks where I feel Nico is she'll do really really well if your opponents or your scene isn't expecting it. Like there are so many ways that you can counter it. You just Song of Frost, cool. Ravishing Finale doesn't do anything, and that's that. it's it's one of those decks where I feel like the mental flashbang of facing a Nico, and if you've faced Nico before, you probably don't expect her to do that much. You expect the Magebane Lash to come out and her to probably, sit there and not take any like non-combat damage, and she's gonna slowly mill you. But she doesn't even need the Magebane Lash out. She just hits a like Ravishing Finale, and it's just suddenly out of nowhere you're milling half your library, and it's just if you get that twice and then they just say pass, and now you have nothing to do but sit there and wait to draw and then die. It's just yeah, I think Nico is a mental flashbang list that will absolutely take 1 or 2 locals tournaments, maybe a store champs or 2. It'll depend on how the deck goes, but it's one of those that it reminds me of like the early Mordred Arendite lists of like this is a list that can get you if you're not expecting it, but once you understand how the deck works and you just hold one of the very cheap and easy
Yeah.
outs to it, like a display, not a display, it's like a Zephyr,
Yeah.
it just stops doing anything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think Nico's an interesting strategy. It's never been something that I've been personally like too interested in playing. I think it does shit on Rye real hard because if you start milling all of my like I have nothing in my and the only thing is voltaic spheres. There's no floating in the decks.
Yeah.
Like it's like if you start milling shit from Rye, it's just
Yeah.
pain. Um, but yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's an interesting step. One thing I haven't seen yet, and maybe that's just because of our local meta here, is Vanitas or Vanitas, however you want to say it. And I haven't seen any of him. I haven't seen anyone playing Calamity Cannon. Thank fuck. I'm so glad that card. I'm not seeing that card because it would make me cry. Because there's definitely lines where you can kill someone on turn 2.
Yeah. I think it's kind of Calamity Cannon gives me a Tomb with Flames vibe. It's functionally one of the
Nah, it's so much better than a Tomb of Flame.
well, no. See, okay. I see it like a Tomb with Flames is like you play it during your opponent's, I think, recollection phase, or like recollection step, and then your next attack with the sword weapon gets +5.
Mm,
Not a kill, probably not a kill in most cases, but your opponent now knows that your next attack with a sword weapon is going to do +5, so they're like, okay, I'll hold defensive options now. Or I will play a taunter or some shit like that. I'll do that. Same with Calamity Cannon to me is like, if you play that, obviously far more dangerous, but it also has the caveat of if you're playing the Calamity Cannon, then you have to realize that
mm.
you have to, like, the warrior just has to get out a sword. So if you destroy the sword that's on his field, he just gets another one out, like a 0-cost sword, and it's fine. It's getting +5. It's probably going to hit you for 6, whatever. But Calamity Cannon requires it with a gun weapon, which means for a gun, you need a bullet as well. So you need to set up your field for this. There are a few guns which, like, there's a side, I think it's prototype, what is it? It's like prototype sidearm or something. It's one that you can
You
activate
meant
from your
prototype
material.
pistol?
No, not prototype pistol. There's a new one that came out
Oh
in
no,
MRC.
framework
Framework pistol,
pistol.
that's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
You can activate it from your material deck, so you can materialize a gun and then get it out, but obviously you're not doing all that much damage. I mean, it's not as much damage as you'd probably hope
Well,
for.
okay. So do you want to know the line?
Go, yeah.
Okay, so you go. So this is relies on you going second, right?
Okay, so this is a
You
kill
play
line.
you.
This is a kill line.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. So you play Calamity Cannon, all right? So you get your 10, all
Yeah.
right? And then you pass the turn. You've got to hope they don't have anything,
Yes.
and then what you can do is you go to your turn. You play out any of the guns that are 0 cost.
Yes.
And then you pick up your hand, you draw your cards, you're back to 8. You play an incendiary shot, you load that up. You could, like it's like that's what 13 damage if you're using a gun that's got 1 damage
Yeah.
already. Like if you level up there, instead, and you go to like Diana, then you're going to be able to hit 4 because incendiary shot class bonus will deal an extra 2.
Yep.
So that's hitting for 14 now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, sorry, that'll be 15 because you got 10 plus the gun doing 1. If you get prototype pistol out, then that's doing an additional 1 plus the incendiary. Like there are ways that you can kill very very easily with Calamity Cannon very
Yeah.
early, if they don't have anything. But the problem is there's such a prolific amount of shield mates around, particularly library
Yeah.
witches, swift recruits. There's a lot of really good interceptors and taunters, so it's
Yeah.
like
Well, I mean, if we're going bar for bar on turn 2 kills, there is also the Tristan one which you can now play, which
yeah, no, fuck
involves
off.
yeah. So
I hate this deck.
if anyone doesn't know it, it's essentially you're going to. It also you could play it technically with any champion. It's not even Tristan. I just say it because it uses an assassin attack. But this could be played with any champion in any element. It doesn't matter. All the cards are normal and none of them have a class bonus. So you turn 1, you're going to play Accepted Contract. Once you play your accepted contract, you go down, I think it's 5, and you play that. So you're now down to 6 cards. You then, on your next turn, you bring out a 0-cost sword that has at least 2 durability. So, we could just go Sword of Seeking, super simple. You will now have 3 prep counters on your champion from accepted contract. You then draw your card for turn. You're back up to 7. You play Gildas. Gildas will now have you what's it called? Gildas will now be balanced, so she swings for 4. So your opponent now has 4 damage on them. Then you play a Slice and Dice prepared through the sword both times. Both times you're going to use the sword. Slice and Dice's first hit is going to do 3 damage plus a sword, so it goes to 4.
4. Yeah.
And then the next hit, because it's prepared, you're using the 3 prep counters, it's going to come back in. It'll be 3 damage, plus the extra 3 that the Slice and Dice ability gives you, plus the sword is going to get you up to 7 damage. 7 plus 4, plus the 4 that Gildas does, is exactly 15. So if if your opponent is going second, the thing is, if you go first turn, this is your second turn of the game. This is the like proper, if you're going by turn standards, second turn of the game. Your opponent literally cannot be anything above 15 unless they played a Beseech the Winds or if they played a Dungeon Guide, because they don't get a materialization phase on their first turn. They just have to make their spirit. So it's another one of those kill turns which is just like, it exists. The likelihood of you having Slice and Dice, Gildas, and accepted contract in your hand. I think one of my friends did it. I think it's 6.9%, which is nice, but also like it's extremely probably not going to happen. This is not this is not at all a tournament deck. This is something to show off at your locals and have a little fun game with, to see who can do it. But
Well,
again, as you said, it it loses to Stalwart, it loses to Library Witch, anything
you
which
know
can
what
intercept. Yeah.
no, do you know what? To be honest, Slice and Dice loses too.
Mm.
Is Resolute Stand.
Yeah.
Resolute Stand
Yeah.
is so funny. It's like I completely forgot. I was playing at locals and someone played a Slice and Dice on me. I completely forgot that they're doing an additional 6 thing was an on head effect. So if you
Yes.
resolute it and they haven't put it through a weapon and you
Yes.
resolute it, that none of it happens.
Exactly.
It just like completely falls flat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you've invested your 3 prep counters, you've
You've gotten a
invested your
whole lot.
turn.
Yep.
Yeah, nah. Like to be honest, I think like you said with the aggressive, like yeah, the odds of you having that are pretty rare. But I
It's
mean,
funny.
the last episode of Banter Nights we did, I talked about how much I hated the aggro Xander lists, right? From back then. You
Yeah.
could easily slot that in
Yeah.
to
It's just
one
a
of
little
the
high rolly.
yeah, which is what I really hate. The fact is that now it just sounds so good because you still got cards like Rococo, which is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, oh
I don't
man,
know if they would want to though, because that is an extra 12 cards you are now subbing into a deck which is probably optimized to high roll as consistently as possible. But it's still like it's a funny little combo. But yeah, as you said, like deflecting edge stops it as well. Like anything which can prevent 3 damage, because it does 3 damage and then it has the on hit effect, and if it does 0 damage it doesn't technically hit, so the on hit will never proc. So deflecting edge online on turn 1, resolute stand
but
if you hold up, what is it, 3? Yeah.
yeah, but if you do it with a sword, there's not much that prevents 4.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, there's not a
absolutely.
lot. There's really stuff that prevents 4, but there's not a lot. So I think, to be honest, if you don't throw a sword, I mean, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah,
Because I mean,
it's yeah.
even if they're still like resoluting it, right? They're
Mm,
still going to be what 1 and then 4, so it's still a 5 attack. You know, investment. I mean, it's not great, but it's still better than nothing, right? And they're still investing one of their resolutes to
yeah.
do it.
It's just yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those attacks that I just feel is, it's extremely funny, and the effect of it also. I love the fact I was chatting to some of the judges and they're not happy with the card itself. Or they just think it's going to have some annoying judge calls, because the thing is, the way that it is worded, you can actually play the second attack through a loaded gun weapon, which should not work normally. Like under normal circumstances,
That's
yeah,
really
like
dumb.
under normal circumstances, you can't play an attack card through a gun weapon you control, like through a loaded gun weapon you control. It's just a part of the gun. That's just an endemic feature of the guns. They can't, like attack cards can't be played through them. But the thing is, because Slice and Dice's second attack, the declaration comes before the copy of Slice and Dice is generated in the user's intent, which means that you can declare the attack. The attack is declared without any. There's no attack card anywhere to be seen. The game doesn't see one, so it just goes, cool. You can use that gun weapon, and then the attack card gets generated afterwards, and the whole thing works. It still works after that. So you can also,
Wait,
yeah.
hold on. How does it interact with Shadow's Twin?
What do you mean?
Oh no, because you can't do the first hit through Shadow's Twin.
No, you can't.
So okay, but no, it's still think about it, right? If you have Shadow's Twin and you load the gun, it's already getting a +3, right? And then whatever the bullet does, and then you still get.
Yes. Well, the funny part about this, which we're not even talking about, is the fact that it means that Diana can put 3 creeping torments on you in one turn with her with the ability of, she just hits you normally
Oh
with
yeah, because
Slice and Dice, the first one,
She didn't do
creeping
enough.
torment. Yeah, and then the next one, the next hit you put it through Shadow Twin, you double the on-hit trigger, and then you put 2 Creeping Torments on your opponent. It's very, very funny. I don't think anyone's playing Slice and Dice with Diana, but I would love to see somebody do it. But I feel like this is leans itself more towards a low to the ground deck. The
It's a
amount of
super
times that I've
aggressive
lost
card.
to it, yes, super aggressive card. But yeah, the amount of times I've absolutely been destroyed by it playing Sylvie because I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna assemble my big advanced element slimes and it'll be great. And then out of nowhere, they're like, you'll be taking like 14 out of this. I'm like, what? What do you mean? The just for anyone listening, if you see your assassin opponent bring out a Quicksilver Grail, assume there is an assassin's ripper under there, and they are going to slice and dice you with that prepared. The moment they get to 4 prep counters, they're going crazy. Like
Does
it's gonna hurt.
it has 2 durability, right? Assassin's
Yes,
Ripper?
Assassin's Ripper has
Yeah,
two. So
that's
you yeah, tap it, prepare, tap
yeah.
it to remove 1 prep counter, it gets +2. It's now a 3 attack, 2 durability dagger. It's scary. It is a scary, scary hit to be slapped with. Yeah. The
Hey,
assassins are crazy this set.
but
I
but
love them.
but you know what? It can't hit through a peaceful reunion.
A piece for you.
Yeah,
I like that card.
so to be honest, so okay, we've got a few new players in Christchurch, and huge shout out to them. They're doing awesome, and they're super great people.
Anyway, here's where I
One,
shit talk them.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm not shitting on them at all. I just think it's interesting because Rye hasn't been as prominent recently.
Hmm.
Or at least in the last set, near the end of the set, people were playing him a lot more. Now, obviously, look at Worlds, but they haven't experienced Rye. Um, so playing Rye into them, and especially when some of them have very aggressive decks, and I'm just playing, a peaceful and then a resolute and then a vanish, and they're like, "Wow, I don't get to play." I'm like, "Well, that's what you get for building allies," but I do feel kind of bad because I'm like, they're not used to this
Yeah.
yet.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is, right? Because playing the game more, you kind of understand. I think it's one of the strengths of getting this new set with all the support and everything. And, even with ALC and stuff like that, decks that were losing to certain decks now have the tools to build against that. Obviously, in order to do well as Ryan to allies, you kind of need to build a pretty big do not die package.
Mm,
But the fact that you can actually build that and you can have a competitive match into allies and it doesn't feel like an auto lose. Like if you're drawing your cards that you need, I mean that's every deck, but if you're drawing the do not die package,
yeah.
you're able to sit there and survive and essentially stop them from doing their one game plan before you one shot them. It just speaks to that.
So actually on that note, I think that I just want to kind of point out how amazing on so many different fronts that their new spirit is for Rye. Having that additional draw is just
Oh yeah.
incredible. It's so good because I mean you're always going to be going to 3, right? So you're going to get the draw, and being able to go to level 3 when you normally might have, if you dungeon guide up there, you might have 1 or 2 left in hand. Being able to pull that extra card and then play, I don't know, you could draw a Resolute if you need it. You could get, if you had a few more cards, you might have enough to then play a Vanish. You might have enough to play a Peaceful if you're lucky. You might have enough to then, put stuff down and play your Careful Study. Like, it gives you so many more options. And also, not to mention the fact that the glimpse at the start is really, really good. Being able to do that, and set your hands, and playing a hand where you play. This has been one of my favorite lines recently. Is if you're starting especially, well, you could do it if you're going second as well. You have to play. You play Gloamspire, and then you activate it because if you're going second, you have 7 cards. You play the Gloamspire, you now have 6. You activate it, right? Draw a card into your memory, and then you play Increasing Danger. So you can, and if you level up as well off of that, even if you're going to be banishing one of the cards in your memory, so you might hit something you want, but if you do that, then Gloamspire will also get to stick around. So there's it being able to do the glimpse and everything allows the Gloamspire math to sit around for a lot longer. So I think it's really good. There's just so many ups to that new spirit. I love it. It's honestly it's my I think in any level 3 deck, for the most part, any of those level 3 decks, if unless you're playing like an aggressive style, maybe like Diana where you need the cards early on, but if you're playing any other sort of level 3 deck and you
Hmm.
necessarily need Serene, I almost just think it's better just to play the Fragmented Spirit.
Fragmented, yeah.
Yeah, just getting to set your hand
Yeah.
early is so good.
Yeah, like the glimpse I loved playing. So the thing is this is me going back to my degen days of playing the Prismatic Mordred, but playing with Serene Spirit always felt great because you could stack that starting hand to be better for what you wanted. None of the cards in my deck were great, so it was never like a perfect, yeah, I know what I want here. But actually being able to like draw my starting six or like glimpse my starting six and go, this is all dog shit, and I am so glad that I don't have to draw this to my hand, and being able to like bottom half or 3/4 of it is so good. um Level 3 decks, I played one game with Sylvie, Fragmented Spirit of Fire, like a TTS game, because I don't own one, but playing a Fragmented Spirit of Fire with Sylvie around this aggro storm slime strategy felt incredibly good because I play like it's not Rye levels of advanced element ratio to the rest of my deck, but it's still enough that it's like I can brick early. Like I can get some pretty dog doo-doo hands early and feel pretty bad about that. But being able to glimpse that six and go, okay, cool, I'll get rid of these. But then on top of that, you're playing Tamer. Tamer can fuck with their own levels outside of it, and you don't need to be your level 3 champion, you just need to be level 3, which means that Tamer's bringing out like a Beast Bondiers will if they're level 2 and you bring out Beast Bondiers, you are now able to sack your fragment and draw, which can be super clutch at times when you just need an extra, like maybe you have the hand, you're like, okay, I haven't seen Dungeon Guide in ages, I really need it, and it's just one extra draw. Just that one extra draw can be so useful.
Can we also talk about, there's just like another card that isn't even, you know, a UR or an SR for that matter, that is basically just a GCR, backup charger.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Why?
Instantly in every single one of my decks.
Why? That card balance, bro. You play that, it balances Gildas. You can balance on 5.
You've actually taken on the allies mentality of just
Number 3. Yeah, well, that's what I think they do, right? I don't play the deck, so that's all I see them do is I just see them go, oh, 3, I put 3
Yeah.
down, play another 2, 3 cost 2, 3. Oh, I'm so clever. Yeah, no, oh man. I can't wait till allies.
It's weird seeing the Rye player hate on allies. It's like a weird civil war. It just feels like two degens smashing their head into a wall together.
Nah, bro. Allies is way more degenerate. Like, at least I give you a chance.
Yeah, we can debate this later on.
Right, you've got 3 turns to kill me, and then maybe a 4th, and allies.
So, in other words, I should play allies.
No, you shouldn't. Allies is disgusting.
Then I can kill you to 3 turn 4.
No, don't do that. No more.
Bro gave me here's how you out it. Don't play the out.
Don't play the
out. Degenerate. Don't do that.
It's silly. Why would you play it?
It's actually fucking hilarious. No, but backup charger is incredible though. Like being able to just have a second GCR in your deck and just go, okay, well, you know what? I'm holding up 3. There are so many cards in this game that are like a 2-cost response that you can hold up and be like, I'm gonna wait for my opponent to do something. Actually, they're not presenting as much damage as I thought. For like Frostbinding side, if there's nothing to Frostbind, doesn't matter. I have 3 cards in my hand. I will now backup charger and draw an extra card. Like it's perfect. Also, it has never come in handy for my slime deck because I don't play anything that requires it. But it also summons a power cell. Like it's a 3. You put 3 down, you summon a power cell rested, and you draw a card. Like this is such a good card. It's like actually insanely good. Compared to a lot of the other conditional draw cards in the game, like, oh, you know, for this charged mana plate, you need to take 4 damage and then you can banish it and draw. Here's Life Essence. An ally you control needs to die not on your turn, and you can banish this and draw. Like, this one's just, hey, bro, do you have 3 cards in hand? Cool. You get a card. Also, you're going to get a power cell, which is going to buff your allies even further if they're automata.
Yeah, so, yeah, welcome to, like, a new staple in allies, to be honest. Like, it's going to be there, because it's just another GCR. Realistically, you know, that along with this is one card I haven't seen played enough, to be honest, in allies, is Clockwork Music Box. We were talking about this before we started recording, but I thought we should mention it now. Clockwork Music Box is really good with a tune plus with Song of Nurturing. And the best part with Clockwork Music Box is that you can play them once, and then you can leave both of them under there, and then you can activate one of them. You just activate one. You don't have to you don't have to say that, oh, it only does a tune or it only does song. No, you can do both of them, and that is really good because that's going to enable so much stuff. Like honestly, if someone sticks in a tune under there and you can't get rid of the music box, I'm shitting myself, because that means that they've already played in a tune, They've already got maybe three allies, 3 allies that are at buff counters. It means the next turn they're going to be able to play something usually, and then buff them again. And that is going to get
Yeah.
terrifying. I honestly want to play that format allies just so I can use a whole bunch of dice. That's the only reason I want to
Yeah.
play it.
I mean, to be fair though, I think the reason we probably haven't seen it is because like it's Tamer artifact. You need to be playing Tamer for this to work, which is the one sad part about it is like you can't just drop it into a Lorraine or a Tony Wind allies or anything
But
like that. It's got to be Sylvia or Alan.
realistically, though, like you can just play Tamer with like Gilduses and Lurkings and stuff because there's like they're
Yeah.
not class bonus. They still do the same thing. You're gonna miss out on a few cards, but realistically, a lot of the really good allies just don't care, right? You could still play
I
train.
mean, like yeah, you can get your staple core.
You can still play trained sharpshooter, right? Because most people just play that card without playing ranger.
Yeah.
You know what we should build, just for a bit of fun, is build the most janky allies deck that pulls from like all classes, but it's actually just a tamer deck. And be like, yo, bro, I'm
Yeah.
playing Sylvie, and no, it's actually just allies.
Jesus. I mean, like, yeah, it also it gives you the versatility, right? Because like, if you're, yeah, as you said, like you're playing Song of Nurturing, you're playing a tune, you know, you're banishing both of those, and now, are your opponents swinging for a big thing? Are they swinging enough that it's worth it to warrant the Song of Nurturing to bring them back, or no? Is it only enough that I could literally save them by just putting a buff counter on? Cool, I'll play a tune instead.
Yeah.
It's like it's just such a good versatile little piece that can be added to these decks. I do think we'll probably see like a wind tamer deck come into this because then you can also play the funny like you can play all the funny wind allies that Sylvie gets like the Tempest Silverback. Like you can just play Alan
Yeah.
with Tempest Silverback. Like have a 6/6 on your board and then put a tune on it a few times and then like it's huge, it's massive, it's really hard to displace and get rid of. I mean, you could do that, you could literally do that, displace it to get rid of the buff counters, but it's still a 6/6 on your board, right?
Yeah, no, I think
Like
the only thing with the monkey,
the
is that
monkey.
monkey. The only thing with the monkey is that like the Pride 5 is really annoying. If it was Pride
Yeah.
4, that card would be bonkers and bananas.
Yeah, which I think, you know, Alan I like the puns. Which is like, you know, Alan can get access to Pride 5 not too difficult. Like it's not too difficult for him.
It's an
But if you
extra
are playing
materialization.
yes, but also if you are playing a wind like allies deck, you know, because like Dream Fairy's not class bonus, you're playing her, lurking, ace and protector, all that kind of stuff. Just for the just for the big bodies and the damage you're going to drop. You're probably not going to see you're not going to see too many animals and beasts. You'll be playing the good animals and beasts because they're just there now. Like Capricious Lynx is great, good stat line on that guy. And if you're playing for the monkey, you're probably just going to play him anyway because you will get to that pride level anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then like ordinary bear and stuff just gives you nice float early on. It gives you an animal on the board, so it's going to get that guy going.
It's a
just
beast.
it works.
Ordinary bear is a beast.
Yeah. Beast.
It's a
Sorry,
beast.
yes, it's a beast.
You absolute
It's
fake.
pride
You
too.
think you know Sylvie?
Oh, you're so right.
Man.
It's not a slime. It's a fluffy
Yeah.
alley. It's got hair. I don't care about that one.
Actually, speaking of that, did you see the new Capricious Links? The new store
Yeah,
art?
the new
That's
promo.
pretty cool.
It looks extremely cool. That's gonna be another. It's gonna be an online event league promo. So if you play in either the elusive leagues on our Tuesday nights, New Zealand Tuesday nights, or if you play in the Yeti League, which I think just happened tonight, or last night, Thursday night for us. Don't know exactly when they
I
do
think
it,
it's Friday
but
morning for us. It's really weird.
Friday morning
Or Friday
Oh,
afternoon. It's so weird.
weird.
It's time difference, yeah.
Dude, oh my god, imagine being in America. But like yeah, if you have like either of those, you can win these links. I don't know if it's I actually don't know if Yeti I haven't played enough Yetis, but I know that Elusive does it for sure. But yeah, it's an online event league exclusive card, and it looks really good, like an extended art, alter art version. It's got like different flavor text on and everything, and it's a much brighter picture. The other one's at night and like a twilight kind of scene, and this one's kind of like in the mid morning. It looks really cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah, no, I think it's super cool. And I think to be honest, I like less the promo cards that we get from this season. I like the Reduced to Ash, which is the silver card.
Yep.
I kind of wish that was the gold one so we could get a signature of it if you got to Ascendant. Not that I would ever get to, I don't think I would get to Ascendant. Maybe, it depends. If I go to Singapore, maybe, but, I could try for it. But, yeah, no, I think I'm not too worried about the gold one, to be honest. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
getting my Scry the Skies. That's going to be really
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, what is the goal? It's the Nico card, right?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey,
it's got a
look.
big badonkadonk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Nico on the card.
Yeah.
I was very surprised. You know what? They did the I saw the collector promotional rare version of it, and it is I mean, you know, they put the signature in a very specific spot. I feel like that was Loki kind of they tried to censor it more by putting the signature over it. But it's a Nico card. It's exactly what you'd expect from a Nico card. It's meant to lean into her identity as a I'm reading this verbatim seductress.
Jesus Christ. Oh, I think it's no, I think it's really good. I think to be honest, the season's looking really nice. It feels way longer this season. I was talking to the guys locally about this the other day. Is that this season feels like it's going to be really long, and I think it's mostly
Yeah,
because last season was. I don't think it was technically shorter. I don't think it. I mean, I have to do the math on that. But in turn, because we were, as soon as the season started, we had like 3 weeks until Ontario, and then we were like a month away from nationals. So everyone was getting ready for that. And then
yeah,
and then after that was all the store champs, all the regionals and the stuff, and I think some of them were happening. And then we had worlds, and it was like it was just an absolute roller coaster. And last season went super quick. Um,
yeah.
and I personally was moving cities, right before that, so it was just kind of like everything fucking compiled at once. New job, new city, all of the new stuff. So it's been crazy. So I'm actually looking forward to this one being a little bit more chill. Although I am potentially, I'm still not 100% locked in. Still potentially thinking of going to Singapore for the ascent there.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think that.
I mean, it'll make one of us. I don't think I'm competitive enough yet to
Hey,
to
you can
warrant a
go. You
trip.
can go. That they've got Path of Silver, man.
I'm not rich enough to compete at Path of Silver. What do you mean? You overestimate my wallet or my collection. I think the most expensive card I have is a Clumsy Apprentice promo that I won from the Elusive League.
Yeah. No, I think
It's a
yeah, no,
lot.
it's definitely hard. Like, I think I'm looking forward to they've announced that there's one in Oceania. Really, really looking forward to that. It's in November. So yeah, really hoping that's going to be a good one. And I Singapore end of September. So yeah, I think that's going to be quite fun. Hopefully make it over there. We'll see. We'll see. But at the moment, the plan is to probably go with a few of the local Christchurch guys, and make an appearance and see what all the Singapore smoke's about.
Yeah, you know it'll be kind of cool. I can't wait to for you to come back and tell me that these motherfuckers kept playing Merlin again.
Yeah, man. Maybe I just gotta go play Diana.
You know what? Yo, Jason did it. Jason did it, and it worked.
Yeah, you know what though? I've actually got a personal gripe with Diana, and it's more the players than anything else.
Oh, sorry, Jason.
No, no. This is okay. So, well, hey, there's recorded evidence of this happening, and I want other people to fucking let me know if it happens to them as well. When I play into Diana's, it doesn't matter who it is, they always hit double dungeon guide. And you saw Jason play Glenn. You saw him. He got 2 dungeon guides in the first one and 3 in the second. Like, am I not wrong that Diana players, for whatever reason, have a golden horseshoe and they just keep fucking drawing double dungeon guide? Because basically any deck that goes long, I mean, unless you're playing water, right, and you can hold up a Song of Frost, any deck that gets double DG'd from Diana and then shot with a Shadow's Twin, and has 2 curses put on them immediately, if they need, and usually they're going to get taser shot as well. So it's like, eh, unless you're playing a deck that doesn't need to level up, which is, they're not really the decks I personally play. It just sucks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, yeah, no, that's one thing. If you ever meet me and you play Diana into me, you'll probably get a double dungeon guide. So just congratulations. But yeah, let us know if you've also been having trouble with Diana players. Maybe we need to rise up and
And do
get rid
what?
of
And
them.
do what? What are you gonna
Get
do?
rid of them. Just ban it. Ban it. You know what? We lost Reckless. Rye lost Reckless. You can lose Twin.
I thought you were about to say ban Dungeon Guide. I'm like, okay, what?
No, I need Dungeon Guide too. No, ban Shadow's Twin and just keep Gloam's by Lance. That card's cooler. It doesn't do as much, but it's
you're
cooler.
gonna you're
It's a
gonna
cool card. It's
you're gonna single-handedly piss off the entire Diana community, and they're gonna draw 3 Dungeon Guides into you.
Hey, I can gripe into any deck, but yeah, no, Diana and Aggro Xander, man, those two, yeah, come at me.
Bro is a
I
professional
was
yapper.
I will shit on those decks till the day I die.
Jesus. I mean, they are good decks. Honestly, like, yeah,
Yeah, that's a sad
it's
thing.
a sad thing. What the fuck? No,
So no, because what's gonna happen? Someone's gonna catch me playing them because they're actually good into the meta, and they're gonna be like, "You're a hypocrite," and I'm like, "No, I just know it's good."
yeah, me on the other hand, I stay loyal to decks because you know what? The new Sylvie Slime deck actually feels good. Like, actually, solid deck, really enjoying it. I've obviously changed the starter deck to not just be it. I feel so sad because I loved Spirit of Slime when it got revealed. I wasn't too happy with it when I actually played. Well, I mean, I wasn't like not happy with it, but I think the issue is with the whole like it enabling basic element slime cards. The only basic element slime cards are the ones in the recollection deck, and then the three basic element slimes from FTC and DOA. So it's not like, and those are all in the like those are all in the recollection deck. So essentially, every single basic element slime card you have access to is just all in the recollection deck, which is good for new players because you don't have to ever buy more. You're completely fine. You can just play this deck and it's great. It is perfect for a new player. I cannot stress that enough. This deck practically plays it like everything in the deck supports itself. It works perfectly. But for somebody like me who wants to
Yeah.
construct something to take to a more competitive level, I'm like, Spirit of Slime doesn't give me the level of versatility that I want. There are really, really good element cards, like element locked cards, basic element locked cards, that I can't run now because of the fact that I'm running the Spirit of Slime. And that feels shit. Like,
Oh, your life is so
buh, buh,
hard.
buh.
You have to play one element. No prismatic for
Yeah,
Richard.
what do you mean? I'm fucking. That's my whole personality. Is I play prismatic,
Yeah, I know.
but yeah, like, oh, I want to play fire because I really want to stack my banishment. Like, I want to stack the graveyard and then be able to slime eruption or like effigy of Gaia. Oh, sorry, Gaia's blessing.
Yeah.
My entire graveyard into my banishment and then play a storm slime. Okay, well, I probably want a bunch of cremation rituals and creative shocks. Those are super, super great just for those cards in general. Like, that's all I need. But then like going to wind, and with wind, oh well, I want a way to be able to displace on and suppress my green slime. So in that case, I'm gonna play displace and Zephyr and stuff. If
Mm.
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't touched water yet. I've maybe there's some gas in water. Maybe I have a fragmented water spirit. I managed to pull
Hey,
that, but
one one of our reveal cards, the Seaside Ringleader.
yes, it is. It's a cool
Yeah.
card. It just I haven't found a use for it yet. I
You know, I only just pulled one the other
yeah.
day out of like it was like in my seventh box. I pulled
Mm,
one and I was like, man, I because obviously the other two cards that we revealed were pretty easy, and I was like, man, I want to have one of each of them.
yeah.
And then of course I didn't get the Seaside Ringleader in my case. I'm like, what the fuck? It is an SR.
Yeah. Do you know what's
But
funny? So
yeah.
I opened two boxes. I got all three of the cards we spoiled from it. I got Seaside Ringleader, I got Mechanical Hair, and I got the Convoking Slime. And I felt super, super happy with that. What's even funnier though is for our store, he wanted to the store owner, my local game store owner, he wanted to crack some packs, so that he could, put singles on his website. And as I'm cracking the packs for him, I was buy listing it back to the store for him so that he could, sit like it would just go straight into the system. Seaside Ringleader, when first came out, was like 50 or 60 New Zealand dollars. That's how much the pre-release price for this card was. That's how much people were selling this card for right as the set revealed. And then now it's like $5. Like this is ex-
Yeah, honestly, if you brought Seaside at that price, like, I wanna shit on one of our reveal cards. I don't think it's a bad card, but I don't think it's that
I think
good.
it looked great from the outset. It looked
It's
really,
great on
really
paper.
strong. Yes, it's one of those cards where
It
it looked like it was like the
yeah.
Serene Spirits when we first saw the Serene Spirits. Looks great. They were $60 at release, 60 New Zealand dollars at release. And then people played them and were like, wow, actually going -1 in hand is not that good in the start of the game because nobody
Mm,
had built a deck around it yet. There was no deck that really worked with it. But yeah, this is exactly
there's
it.
no Serene Luxon.
Convoking, unfortunately, was just never pricey. I was very, very sad because I buy listed one of those back and it was like 5 New Zealand dollars. This was like pre-release time. It was $5. Now it's down to like 3. And I'm just like, this is so
Mm,
depressing. Like, I I hate it because I love that card. I thought it was super cool. The art was cool. The effect was cool. The element was cool. Everything about it was cool, except like it's just so slow. And it's exactly it's exactly what we said in the spoiler video. It's just a slow card that takes a few too many turns to do what it really wants to do. Like the deck can do what it does, but kind of just better, as in flooding the board with bigger bodies, stronger bodies, and more stalwart bodies, I guess. Like they're not as easy to displace. I'm using so many keywords, I'm using so many
Mm.
words from GA, but like it's hard to get rid of these guys, to get rid of like other allies versus a 2/2. A 2/2 is so easy to get rid of. Convoking just
Well, do you know what it needs?
yeah.
It needs to say animal or beast on it. That's all that Seaside needs to say on it, and it would be very good.
Oh, Seaside, oh, we're back on that. Oh, you just completely okay.
Oh,
Fuck
I thought we
convoking
were
slime.
still talking about.
Fuck
Oh,
convoking slime.
yeah, no, fuck Convoking Slime. The card's shit. No, I'm joking. It's not. No,
It kind
no,
of is. It kind of is. If I'm being
yeah,
honest, out of every
it's
single advanced element slime, it is probably right now the weakest. It has potentially one of the strongest effects, but the effect has been nerfed. Like it is a nerfed effect. It comes in rested. It waits till your recollection step to see, like to
mm,
actually do it. It's an effect which on its own is massively overpowered. I mean, you can see in other card games and other trading card games, a card which summons token copies is insanely strong. There are entire decks based around tokens in other games. This is, one of those ones that will continuously generate value, but because of how strong the effect is, it just had to have some breaks put on it. It had to have some nerfs, and I think the issue is it's kind of made it quite dog. It's just not that great.
played a lot of Magic. They even
Yep.
they fully admit that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mechanics that you can see coming from Magic, and when you see and just the way that it's being implemented, I think they're realizing some things just don't quite work. Um, I cannot wait until they get limited sorted. I mean, limited that we played sealed. We did like 4 packs of MRC, 4 packs of ALC. It was terrible. The material deck was tiny. Don't do it. It's horrible. Um, and yeah, I'd really like to see them sort limited out and have a way that we could do drafts, because that was like my all-time favorite thing from Magic, was doing limited formats. I think it also shows a different skill set, which is why you look at Magic and they do it on the Pro Tours and stuff, right? Is they would have drafts, and there would be a 3-round draft with an 8-man pod, and that's part of your score for for your Worlds or your Pro Tours or whatever.
I think the biggest takeaway for us for this season, after like going through this entire podcast, is we like the new season. The only real gripe we have in it is the saturation of the UR pool and some of the SR stuff. It's in other words, it's
The
hard.
saturate, you
Yeah.
mean the desaturation?
Oh, I mean, no, like super saturating the
Oh, you mean like
yeah,
how
like
many there are? Yeah,
like
sorry.
saturating the
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
yeah, if we had to do one takeaway, it would be that we're saturating the UR pool and some of the SR, especially with regalia. It's very hard to pull the regalia you want. You're probably gonna have to buy it secondary, like as in the secondary market. And as you mentioned, because of how rare it is to pull in the first place, the secondary market price for it has gone up. Regardless of how good it is, it's still
Yeah.
gonna be an elevated cost just because of how rare it is to get. Not ideal, because again, like I really, really want GA to stay the game that I can tell friends is the affordable TCG to play. And again, when comparing it to other TCGs, this is still very, very affordable. But it is getting to a point where it's hard to get people to play. Like I was playing my recollection deck into a few people at my store, and I used a dungeon. I put dungeon guides in it, and I used a dungeon guide. I'm like, oh, no, like you guys need to put this in your deck. It is so gas. And they were like, yeah, but it's probably like a fucking $20 card, right? I'm like, well, it's actually $30 here. Like it's 30 New Zealand dollars.
Mm.
Is like an average price for dungeon guides, and it's still hard to come by because the pool of cards here is not as big as overseas, and it's hard to import a lot of singles and stuff. But it's an expensive card still. $30 is not that high to go in terms of TCG prices, but it's still high enough that a new player who's trying out the game and wants to be competitive in a pool of, or like wants to play into a pod of people who are all playing decent enough decks, it's kind of painful. That was a bit of alliteration there. But yeah, just in general, playing like having a lot of new URs, main deck URs, and a lot harder odds of getting the SR regalia and stuff you want can make it really, really off-putting, because yeah, like I want to build this deck, but actually the one card that I really want for it is a $60 card that I can't really just I don't really want to pull a box hoping for it or anything like that and get a huge amount of commons and stuff like that, which would be great. But I should probably just buy the single, and the single costs half the single is worth half a box, which is painful enough. It's
Yeah,
just
and it feels really bad when you spend that much on a single card
yes,
and you don't and you're not getting like, if you open a box and you get it, then you're getting a whole bunch of other stuff
exactly,
alongside it. So
exactly.
yeah, I think I think it's a I think it's a potential slippery slope. Let's keep our hopes up though for this, for the future of the game. If there's one thing that, Weaves do better than any other developer of any TCG I've seen is they listen.
Yes,
And
yes,
they definitely listen to their community. So let's just hope that they keep that up and they take the feedback on board because, yeah, it's going to be pretty hard for them to get new players in if that keeps going up.
exactly. I think it's one of the main benefits I've seen of like watching people in this specific TCG is there's not a lot of kind of just naysayers. Like there's not a lot of people against Weebs. I don't think I've actually really seen almost anyone that is actively against what Weebs does, like the way that they run their company. Like there's gripes here and there, but it's kind of just it's more the idea of just this is just a newish company. It's the we just had the 1 year anniversary of Grand Archive, so obviously we're not sitting on 30 years of experience like Magic the Gathering does, and
Mm,
they fuck up a lot. Like I don't think I more or less when I hear somebody talk about Wizards of the Coast, it is a shit. It's about to be a shit talking rant.
yeah,
That is this person is about to go on a shit talking rant about it. Games Workshop shit talking rant. Weebs of the Shore though, almost every single time I hear somebody mention the name, it goes to a positive route.
yeah,
This is probably the only real time I've heard people even slightly bring up stuff, and it's mainly just the fact that hey, I want to play your game more. Let me get the cards that I want to
yeah.
play your game more. Like it's if anything, it's a positive criticism to it. It's I really want to play this game. Let me play it in a more like let me play it more. Um,
Mm.
which is it's a positive thing, but yeah, it's again it is still a criticism that I hope is taken on board at some level to Weebs.
No, but it's overall. I think the set's going really well, and I think that the start of it's been really good. There's been a lot of cool new decks and new strategies coming up. So, yeah, I need to find some time and do a bit more deck building myself. But like I said, I feel like I've got a lot more time this season. So, uh, definitely can feel like we're gonna, kind of cruise through it a little bit more and have a little bit more free time to do some spicy brews. But yeah, I don't know. If you got any more thoughts?
I honestly, I feel like we exhausted them throughout that entire thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
we definitely have.
in general, just if I had to tie this whole podcast up in a nice, neat knot, it's the both of us in a nice, neat bow. Jesus,
You're gonna need a strong note, though.
yeah, it's it's that this set is good. This set is
Mm,
besides like one or two little things. This set is a good set. It's making decks which weren't seeing a lot of play see more play, and people are actually feeling comfortable enough to deck build with certain things instead of just most people were just naysaying and being like, oh well, that deck you don't really want to play that, don't do that, there's no real, it doesn't have a win con, it doesn't have a consistency, yada yada yada. But now there's like reason for people to build a certain deck in a certain way, and they're actually like taking those steps, which I mean I feel like it's going to make the meta super varied, or at least it's going to make your local store super varied. You can play jank now, and the jank is probably consistent. It's got some support now, so it's going to work out. So I'm super happy. I think this set is great. I'm I'm super happy.
yeah, no, it's super great, and use that new sideboard rule.
Yes,
You got so many more tools now, so yeah, look to build spicy sideboards, and yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting seeing people try and tech into. I think it's gonna be a lot of teching into your local meta nowadays, and then a lot of predictions in the big tournaments. So, no, super super
yes,
super cool. Looking forward to it, and yeah, we'll have to see what comes of Taipei. That's gonna be our big one coming up.
yeah. Is there before we end off? Is there anything that's if we come back to this podcast in a few like weeks or months after next big event, after the next big ascent, actually, is there anything? Is there any predictions you would have for it? Anything that you would want to see, or anything you want to come back to comment on? Like almost like put a pin in this comment.
Oh, you talking about like what I think is gonna be at Taipei?
Like I'm thinking there are gonna be some new decks which are gonna abuse a card from Dawn of Ashes or Fractured Crown or ALC, like an older set. There's going to be a new way to play these cards that is going to break it to the point that that card is probably going to go up to Cat 2 or maybe even Cat 3. I feel like we're going to see some old cards get banned.
Ooh, I mean, yeah, I mean, potentially. There's I think a lot of interactions that people are, you know, not thinking about, because the more cards you get, the more exponentially more tests you need to make. But if I had to make one prediction, I think we could be seeing Sylvie in a day 2, and
Ooh.
and potentially with the right list, a top 8.
I would
Potentially,
love to see this because I'm gonna
potentially.
net deck it. I'm gonna net deck it.
Yeah, no, that
Seal
that would that
it.
would it would be hilarious. No, I think Sylvie genuinely has legs. They did a lot for it in the recollection deck.
Yeah.
I really want to see. I really want to see how that's going to go. And yeah, again, like I said, I think day 2 for sure. I think I could definitely make a top 32 of an ascent.
Yeah.
Top 8 would be super spicy. So I mean,
Super
yeah,
hype. Yeah.
yeah.
No,
I
that's
mean, but
perfect.
I think we're going to see a huge color pie as well. I think it's going to be very distributed, very spread
Ooh,
out
absolutely.
amongst champions and amongst elements. So yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, well, we'll put a pin in this and we'll come back to it after Ascent Taipei and we'll see how our predictions have turned out. But from that is us. That is this. Thank you for tuning in this week, and hopefully we'll have something for you next week as well.